You're listening to the Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast, episode 151.
Welcome to the Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast, where we explore public health epidemiology careers and share tips and strategies to help you enter or transition into the field. And now, your host, Dr. Charlotte Hughes Huntley.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this episode. Now, in this episode, I'm going to share with you the details of a new ebook that my team and I put together, and it's available as a free gift to all new subscribers. I'm excited about that. We're all excited about that. So I'm going to tell you all about it in just a moment and how you can get a copy of it for yourself. But before I jump into that, I want to cover one important announcement. This is about those of you who are already members of my community. You receive regular announcements that let you know when the newest episodes are available and other events that are happening around the community. It is really important that you regularly check your email from me. Even if you just glance at it very quickly and you can decide if it's something that you need further attention on later, they're usually very brief. But there are a couple of reasons why you want to do that. There are very special program offers and opportunities to work with me that I do not advertise anywhere else. Sometimes I only send those special opportunities to the members of my community who are already receiving emails from me. You can also participate in decisions that impact our community. I often will send a poll or survey, a quick survey, 1 or 2 questions, and I ask for your feedback. And sometimes I will send out a request to ask you to join me on a Q&A call. I do those things often. Now, some of you know what I'm talking about because you've been able to participate in that in the past. You've been able to submit your feedback, answer those questions, participate in the polls, surveys, and things that I've sent around. And you've also been a part of those Q&A calls. So you know what I'm referring to. And those are not opportunities that I advertise anywhere else. Those are usually just emails that I send to parts of my community or the whole email community. So it's important that you're checking your emails from me because you may miss that. There's also behind the scenes types of updates, something that's new and coming up. Sometimes often I will announce that to my email community. I'll send an email and let you know what's coming up before it's announced anywhere else. So those are some of the reasons why it's really important that you're checking your email for me, because that's an advantage of being a closer part of the community is you get those special opportunities, those special offers, those special invitations, and there's just little tidbits of information that you'll receive sometimes well before the rest of the broader community receives. So I don't want you to miss anything that may be exactly what you need. You know, sometimes those opportunities that I sent out are just when you need them. So it's just a really good habit, good practice to always check your emails from me. And, you know, like I said, glance really quickly. You'll be able to tell if it's something that's significant to you right at that moment or not. And you can just simply ignore the ones that aren't relevant to you. And I just think it's really good. A lot of missed opportunities because people aren't checking and they'll find out about something that event that I've had or something that I've done after the fact, and they're kind of upset that they missed it. But it's important to regularly check your email. Okay, now let me tell you about this new career advice and tips ebook. So it is really classic career advice. My team and I were trying to think about what to do. And specifically, Laura, I often will tell you about members of my team. Laura has been with me now for almost a year, and she helps me with a lot of the social media planning. She assists with the organization of the podcasting. So if you've been a guest on any episodes, you've interacted with Laura because she helps get that organized. And she does a lot of behind the scenes with preparing these episodes and promoting these episodes on social media. So anyway, Laura and I were working on, and I had an idea because let me give you the full backstory. So if you are a podcaster, you may be aware of this. If you are a big fan of several podcasts, you may notice that in iTunes or Apple Podcasts, there's only a limited number of available episodes. And I've received emails through my website. People will say, okay, how do I access these older episodes because they're not in Apple Podcasts? And so, of course, you can access them through individually going through the show notes pages of my website, but you can access them on Apple Podcasts. So Laura and I were trying to decide, I was kind of brainstorming this and I got her involved in it. So my idea was to pull together the information because on every episode, I ask my guests to share their advice for current students or recent graduates or anyone trying to transition into public health. I always ask that question. I do that for your benefit because I want you to hear the advice coming from the variety of guests that I bring on the show and from different backgrounds. And I ask them to provide that insight based on their experience, either what they wish they had done or what they did and worked really well, and sometimes what they teach others that they just missed altogether. So at any rate, with those older episodes now being dropped off from Apple Podcasts, which is the primary platform that majority of the listeners are going to. I think Spotify, there's Stitcher, there's TuneIn, but Apple Podcasts or iTunes is the primary platform for me. So I wanted to see what we were missing. So I looked at all of the early episodes. I took all of the interviews. Well, this is the part that Laura did. She researched all of those episodes and pulled out all the ones that were interviews because some of those were just me in a sort of a coaching episode talking solo like I'm doing on this episode. So she picked all the interviews. She sifted through and pulled out all of the shared content, the tips and the advice that my guests shared on those episodes. Some of that she could pull from the show notes page, but some of the early show notes pages weren't really complete with all those details. So she went back to the episodes themselves, pulled out the information. Some of it came from the early notes that I collected when I interviewed the guests. So she did all of this work, pulled this information together, and we were sitting looking with a massive amount of information from these episodes. So I sifted through those. I narrowed it down. And within the first 50 episodes, I only considered the guests. We managed to put together a list of guests, not every single guest in that first 50 episodes, but we picked a handful. And we looked at things like the analytics and just a lot of details. But we've put them together in a very well-organized and we're excited about this ebook. It's a great ebook. So I instruct you in the ebook on how to find the show notes page, how to go to the show notes page to get the contact information for the guests if you want to connect with them. And if you want to listen to that particular episode in full. The titles in the ebook are clickable. So if you are interested in going straight to the show notes page, all you have to do is click the title in the ebook and it takes you right there. But in case you happen to not be able to access those clickable links, so say you decided to print a hard copy of the ebook, then I've instructed you in there on how to go to the show notes section and find that particular show notes page. So I've got you covered. Either way, the information on each page is that guest, the link to the full show notes, but then also on that very same page are all of the tips and advice that the guest shared during that episode. And it's really, really good. I enjoyed working on this project. I was putting it together and I was thinking, I just imagine someone getting this and really feeling really excited to have it all in one place, especially those episodes that you can't access on Apple Podcasts anymore. So this is our gift to all new subscribers of the podcast. So it's already been set up and it's in place when you subscribe to the podcast. Now, this works when you subscribe from either one of my promotion ads on social media or from my website, when you click and subscribe from my website. Now, if you're in Apple Podcasts and you subscribe to listen through Apple Podcasts, now I definitely want you to do that and it's great, but you won't get the email from me by subscribing through Apple Podcasts. You'll need to subscribe through my website in order to be able to get the ebook. So I am very pleased to make that announcement and to be able to share that with all of you. Those of you that have been listening for a long time, keep listening. I love it that you're using Spotify or Stitcher or Apple Podcasts and you keep up with me that way. But if you have not connected with me by sharing email and being a part of the newsletter that goes out and part of the community there where you receive emails from me, then I really encourage you to do so. And like I said, this ebook is our gift to you for joining our email community and joining our newsletter there. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, well, I've already subscribed to the email. I get emails from you. I'm already a part of that closer community. So how do I get a copy of this ebook? No worries. I've got you covered. That's exactly why I spent a few minutes talking about the importance of checking your emails from me. So included in the email that went out today, the email that announced this episode 151, then if you look at that email, there's a link inside of that email that you can click and download your copy of the ebook. So it's that simple. Check your email for me if you already receive emails from me. Check your email for me and click and access that ebook. Now, I will ask you, as much as I love sharing, I want you to share. What I will ask you when you share with your colleagues or anyone interested in also getting their hands on this ebook, I would ask you to encourage them to come to the website and subscribe individually instead of just sending the ebook to them. That way they become a part of the community as well, and they can keep up with ongoing announcements from me and things that we have going on. So that is my ask, is I want you to share, please do, but encourage your friends and colleagues to come to the website and subscribe for themselves so that they can get their own copy. That is a lot in a very short period of time. But I really want to thank Laura for her help on this. I love having a team where we can work on these types of projects together. It also makes it possible for me to be able to provide so much. So my team is invaluable to me. And I really specifically appreciate Laura's help on this particular project. So you have it all in one place. Either check your email to receive, download the copy of the ebook, or just simply visit my website. You can go to drchuntley.com, and it's drchhuntley.com. And on the homepage of the website, there's an option to subscribe to the podcast. So you can click that link and subscribe. Or if you're on the show notes page, you can. Now, it depends on when you visit, but there may be a pop-up which will ask you to subscribe to the podcast. Or at the very bottom of the show notes page, now there's also a box that you can just enter your email information and subscribe that way. So I've made it easy by putting these opportunities to subscribe in multiple places throughout the website. And you will also see ads throughout social media because we're really excited and promoting this new ebook that we've put together. And we want to get it into the hands of all of you who are interested in careers and public health. I think that I appreciate all of my guests that I've been able to include in this ebook from being part of the podcast. And I listened to some of those early episodes and I moved past some of the imperfections that I always seem to catch, but in myself, not my guests at all. But what I love is that it's consistent, even back in those early episodes, all the way till now, is my guests have been so generous in sharing their tips and their advice and their insights. And I've always appreciated that. And it's great to work on this project because some of these are like episode 4. I mean, for those of you who've been listening for a long time, you're going, oh my gosh, how did we get all the way to 150 something? And then others are thinking, wow, that seems so old, but the information is relevant. The advice, it does not expire. It's classic. So I really encourage you to dig into this resource. And I look forward to getting your feedback because I know you're going to let me know if you like it or not. So we're excited about it. We're happy to provide this with you. Check your email, visit the website, and until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast at drchuntley.com.